Going on, folks? It is Antonio, and these are my sketchy thoughts. First off, I just want to say thank you for listening to this podcast, even for 30 seconds. This took a long time to come about. It took a long time for me to get up the nerve to do it. I've had this desire to want to share what I'm thinking about when it comes to stuff for a very long time. So thank you, first and foremost. This podcast will mainly be about what it means to be an artist in this world. And I think that everyone is an artist because everyone is a creative in their own way. And this episode will be about you and I and our need to stop trying to be Clark Kent. What does that even mean? The desire to be something that is not who you are deep down inside. That's what that is. It's the desire to be something and have to mold yourself into something normal so that you can fit in. That's what it really means to me as a person. It means that. It means it means that. And I don't want to be Clark Kent. As you can see, I have this Superman shirt on. My last name is Clark. I am a veteran, so all of my drill sergeants would call me Clark Kent because I can run fast and I can shoot well. And the nickname Clark Kent just kind of stuck. Anyone who knows me knows I did not wear Superman stuff before I joined the military. And after I joined the military, I wore Superman stuff all the time. I still do to this day. As an artist, I've been an artist for a very, very long time. A full-time artist coming up on 10 actual years. In August. It'll be my 10-year anniversary of being a full-time artist. And one thing that I constantly am battling with is the need to feel normal, the need to fit inside a box that society says is the thing to do. And I know that some people will say, well, art's all about expression and all these other different things, but the truth of the actual art industry is exactly the opposite of that for most of it. They want you to fit in a box. They want you to be exactly what their vision of the art is or what they think good art is. There are definite examples of people that have trailblazed by being their own person. And with every one artist that breaks through, there are hundreds that are being told that they have to be forced into a box. So, what does it really mean to stop being Clark Kent? One of my sayings is go be super. I'm going to say that every time that I end anything that I do, I always say go be super. And because I believe that there is something super about every single person, no matter what it is that you do. Again, I think everyone is a creative. I have what I call the Ratatouille rule. If you've seen Ratatouille, and they say everyone's a chef. I think everyone is an artist. Everyone is a creative. I believe we were created. I believe God created us. So I believe inherently we were made to also create. And when it comes to your creativity, so many different times we can get stuck again in that box of what it's supposed to look like and sound like and feel like. And that's the exact opposite of, I think, us being our super selves. That's exactly the opposite of who we were meant to be. We were meant to be outside of the box, break the mold. And the essence of who Clark Kent is Superman all the time. All the time. Yeah, he was raised to be normal, but he's Superman when he goes to sleep and when he wakes up. You know? He's faster than a locomotive from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to sleep. There's no breaks. And you yourself are super. From the moment you put them feet on the ground, from the moment you open them eyes, to the moment you close them again at night, you are super. And society wants to rob us of that. And so many different times, especially with social media, people feel like they have to conform to this box. And now, since we have technology the way that we do, we have access to so many different ways to feel like you need to be that is outside of who you really are. Well, I'm not tall enough. I'm too tall. I don't weigh enough. I weigh too much. I'm not talented enough. Or if I am too talented, then people think that I'm full of myself. Or you have no confidence. I know for myself personally, imposter syndrome is a huge thing that not only myself, but many artists and many creatives deal with. You look at someone that's amazing. For me, I have lots of amazing artists all over the walls and different things. As soon as you walk into this house, you see one of my favorite artists. His name is Alex Ross, and he's an amazing painter. Amazing people like Jim Lee that I've met multiple times, a comic book legend. And it's hard not to compare yourself to someone like that, even especially when you meet them. You know, it's just like, wow, am I ever going to get to this status? And the joy of the situation is you don't have to. You don't have to. That's the joy of the situation. You do not have to. You can just be super by simply being yourself. There's no one else on the earth that's like you, even if someone else is wearing your face. You, you know, even if there's a few of y'all that look exactly the same, nobody's exactly just like you. And that's a joy in that. There's a joy in knowing that there's only one of me. There's tons of artists and there's tons of creatives and of different, mediums, but there's only one of me. Only one person is going to draw exactly how I draw, even if our styles are similar. So why am I trying to put on this hat and glasses and be mild mannered? Why? Why am I aspiring to be ordinary when I was made to be extraordinary? What can I do when I feel like society's pushing me in this box, when I'm pushing myself in the box? Again, when Superman wakes up, he puts on the disguise of Clark Kent so that he can fit in, so that he can maneuver around and not be noticed. And that's another thing, is that we dim our own light in such a way where we want to make ourselves not be noticed. We want to just fit in with the status quo. Why fit in when you were made to stand out? You were made to stand out. It's an amazing thing to have something amazing that you can do. And I know someone's sitting here saying, well, Antonio, I can't do anything amazing. That's not true. Everyone has something. Everybody. There's one of my favorite songs from a female artist named Nika Costa, and she has a record called Everybody's Got Their Something. And everybody's got their something. Everybody's got their something. Again, just with art, the way someone draws, the way someone, colors, when it comes to songstress, the way someone, you can have. I just watched a video the other day. I just watched someone sing an Aretha Franklin song, and Aretha Franklin has her version, but there was like 10 other women that sang the same exact song, and they sang it differently, and all of them were just amazing, but they all made me feel something different when I listened to the same exact words come out of their mouth, but they came out differently. So when it comes to why are we continuing to be the Clark Kent, why are we putting on the glasses, why do we have to be mild mannered? The answer is we don't. The answer is we shouldn't. The answer is we're doing ourselves a disservice by being that way. We're doing ourselves a disservice by dimming your own light. You're doing yourself a disservice by being anything but what you were created to be. Because as nice as Clark Kent could be, and as great as his reporting might be, and there's tons of stories where Clark Kent is amazing, they pale in comparison to the countless stories of Superman being super. You know, it's one of those things that as humans, it's crazy to me to think that we can look at something that we can do and then all of a sudden we want to shrink down. I know that your parents, I know that your loved one, I know that your teacher, I know that your friends, I know that you yourself have looked you right in the face and told yourself, it's not that good. When I was 14, my stepfather looked at my art and he says, this isn't good enough to work at Marvel. And the crazy thing is, at the time, it probably wasn't good enough. Probably wasn't good enough. But 14-year-old me kept that and held on to that for all the way into adulthood. Literally all the way until probably like my late 30s. I held on to that. The notion of you're not good enough and your art isn't good enough because someone close to me told me that I wasn't good enough. And then when I first started doing art full time, those first 2 years was a struggle. It was a struggle. And I'm thankful for the people around me that kept me going. But again, I had someone close to me that was like, why don't you just stop? Why don't you just, you can stop, right? Why don't you go drive a truck? Drive a truck. I'm as creative can be and been that way since I was a kid. Why don't you drive a truck though? Because that's safe. That's secure. That's going to give you a paycheck every week. And for some people, that's a necessity. And there's nothing wrong if you drive a truck or something like that. Again, I've done that before. It's nothing wrong with doing something that that pays your bills and is comfortable for you. What I'm also going to tell you is we only get one life. And that life was not created just for you to be a worker. One of the few things that my father told me, biological father that is, that he told me that stuck with me is he told me when I was a young kid, he said, don't be a worker ant. And I was like, wow. And it really kind of hit me fully until I got to be a worker and I got in that hamster wheel and I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. I'm doing the mundane thing. And every time I would start drawing, people would be like, oh man, why don't you do this, Antonio? And no, I can't. Because when I was young, I thought the only way that you could be an artist was to work for Marvel or DC or Disney. It was those three. It was the big three. That's it. You're either working for one of them places, that's it. There's no in between. There's no none of that. And I came from a poor family. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and we grew up in the hood. I'm talking about 13 people lived in a 3-bedroom house. I'm talking about my mother, my sister, and I slept in the top bunk of a bunk bed while my cousin and my aunt slept in the bottom bunk of the bunk bed. My grandma had 9 kids, all of them under one roof, along with 3 grandkids and her husband. So it's called, I didn't come from any kind of money. So the college I wanted to go to was Savannah College of Art and Design. It's the only college that I wanted that in the nation that I knew of that would give you a degree in sequential art, which is essentially comic books, because comics are in a sequence. I couldn't afford that, and I didn't want to go into debt, having to pay it back for the rest of my life. I just didn't want to, since there was no guarantee that I was going to get a job afterwards. So I jumped in that hamster wheel of being regular because I thought that's the only way I could do it. That was the only avenue. That was the only way I possibly could ever get ahead in life. How wrong was I? How wrong was I? And I'm glad that I went the path that I went because I joined the military. I did a little bit of everything. I tell people I've lived a million different lives. And the reason why none of them worked is because I was trying to be Clark Kent. I was trying to be something other than what I actually was. I was trying to fit in. I wasn't made to fit in. I was made to stand out. I wasn't made to wear the same uniform as everyone else. I come from a military family. My father and my uncle both served in the military. God rest my uncle's soul. So I come from a military family. I wasn't made for the military. I did art in the military. My greatest artistic achievement is probably at my last duty station. I created our challenge coin. And that's something that I hold dear to this day. I think about the challenge coin that I have for people that are watching this. I have my challenge coin that I made, still in the plastic that it was given to me all those years ago. And it's my highest artistic achievement. And I feel my highest self when I'm being creative. When I am, when I'm taking off take off the blaze and loosen up the tie. Like Jay-Z said, open up the cape, Superman is alive, right? And again, trying to fit in that box, it just wasn't for me. Every job I had wasn't for me. No matter how good I was, I'm a great worker because I can do stuff. That's fine. I know how to follow directions. That wasn't my path in life. It wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. So it never worked out. Eventually I would feel a sense of staleness. I would wake up and then all of a sudden, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I'm only getting older. Why am I doing this? And then I started being in my, I want to say, so I was at my last duty station. I was in Colorado and I almost died when I was 23 in a really bad car accident. Thank God for giving me life and let me get through that. But I literally almost died in when people say that whole near death, like accident type of thing, I had that. I literally, white light, all that. I had that experience. Felt like my soul was leaving my body. I had it. And from that point on, instead of pushing myself to do more, I shrunk more into the box. For like a year, I just sat curled up in a ball in my parents' basement when I was living in Colorado at the time. I got in my accident in Maryland and I stayed in Maryland for a year. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. And when I think back at that time, I kept thinking like, well, I just felt hopeless. And I felt like, if I try to do anything, I'm going to fail. You know, I wasn't used to failure. I don't like failing. I don't like losing. And the fear of failure will keep you with that hat and them glasses and that tie and that blazer on. It'll keep you there. It'll keep you stuck. The fear of failure. And that's something that we as humans grapple with all the time. Nobody wants to fail. And in our society now, it's easy to talk about, oh, we'll fail upwards and all this other stuff. But nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to use time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears at something and it not come out the way that you want. Nobody wants that. Yes, it's practice. Yes, practice makes permanent. I don't believe in perfection, but it makes it permanent. And you have to get those reps. And as an artist, they say 10,000 hours. And Lord knows I've had those 10,000. And I still feel like I not even feel, I know I can get better. But that fear of failure has kept me stuck. And I know it's kept so many others stuck in whatever thing you decide to do, whether it's being a creative, whether it's being the best manager, whether it's being the best parent, the best partner, just the best you that you can be. It's kept you stuck. So how do we get unstuck? Because at one of my lowest points, I was super depressed. Around 23, super depressed. I mean, no, not 23, about, I think I was like, maybe no, I think I was about 30. Yeah, it might have been like 30. I was super depressed to the point where I was going to therapy twice a week. And I remember my therapist telling me, he saw that I could do art and he saw that I wanted to kind of get away and jump out of the box. He saw Like, and when, therapists say, draw a picture of yourself, or at least mine did. And I drew myself flying. And he's like, so you really like this Superman stuff. You really kind of want to be free. I wear Superman stuff all the time, y'all. And I said, yeah. And he said, so what's holding you back? And, you give the excuses and all, da, 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 da. And I'll never forget, he said, you should move to New York City. And I laughed in his face. I said, me, I'm 30 years old. I can't move to this. That's a young man's thing. That's what you're supposed to do when like you're 19, 20. You're supposed to move to New York and live the life and, move to the East Village or whatever and all that jazz. No, I said, I can't do that. No, there's no way. I can't. And that was me internally shutting myself down from any possibility of getting to the point where I actually really wanted to be. It was me shutting myself down before I even gave it any kind of effort. So years go by. I end up working a corporate job. I hate it. If you were to see the pictures of my desk, it was full of colored pencils and markers and pens. And I used to keep post-its that I still keep on my desk now to this day that I would just draw on or just sketch an idea or write down something, and I would put it next to my shout out to my homegirls, Rachel and Amy, that I used to work with. Right, our cubicles were right next to each other, and Rachel also was an artist, and she's an amazing artist. And it's one of those things where we would be pumping each other up, and it's like, why are we here? Like, art is what we want to do. Why are we here? We were putting ourselves in that Clark Kent role just so we could fit in, just so we could be normal and do what we need to do, whatever that is. Instead of having faith in our abilities and who we are and that urge, that desire on the inside that you're made for something, that you're supposed to do something else with who and what you are. And people ignore that voice. They ignore that calling. They ignore that itch, that urge, that inkling to do something different. That wanting desire to do something, to be somebody else. There's a commercial now of like a person walking, and I think it's for going to school. And I told him how much I charge. He said, why don't you just charge like $300 for one piece? Again, I laughed at him. There's no way. No one's paying. No one's gonna pay me. Me? No one's me? Hold on. Me? No one's paying me. $300 for one piece of my artwork? you know, and he said, "Oh, you should just give it a shot. Just do it once. Just do it once and see what happens." I never did it. I never did it. What I did do is get to the point where I can charge that much for an hour of my time. And I came well after lots of trial and error and failure and everything like that. And it took a long time. And again, I'm at my cubicle. I hate it. And the next thing you know, I say, I'm tired of this. And I was waking up unhappy. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't happy just in my life altogether. I'm sad. I'm crying all over the place, just randomly. I'm busting out crying. I'm an emotional person anyway, but I was just busting out crying randomly. And next thing you know, it's because I'm not happy. So I said, if I'm going to be an old man on this planet, sitting in a rocking chair, because, as young kids, my generation was programmed to think that that's what you do when you get old. When older people don't do that nowadays. gonna move like the next few weeks, like a month or like a couple weeks. I'm gone. Then I told them I was moving, so they couldn't talk me out of it because I know that they are my safety net. So it'll be easy for me to fall back into that safety net, which is not what I needed. I did need a safety net. What I needed was to step out on faith and step into who I actually really am. And it was tough. It still is tough. Being an artist in this world is crazy. That's one of the things that I want to talk about on this podcast is how art is in everything. Art is in everything. And if you don't believe that, you're fooling yourself. But art is in everything. And history shows that the one thing that stands the test of time is art. People, places, things fall down, art is going to stay there. Art, an artist, and the desire to create is going to stand the test of time. So when I moved to New York, I didn't have a plan. I just jumped right in, which is the wrong thing. Let me tell you, if you're going to move, to a place, especially an expensive place like New York, please have a plan. Have a plan. But sometimes, just sometimes, you have to just jump out the window. Because if you plan too much, that plan will keep you stuck. And again, you'll shrink back, you'll put that tie and a hat and glasses on, and you say, no, maybe in the next year I'll do it. Then that next year turns into another year, then turns into another year, then turns into 10 years. Now you've been talking about this dream, the same as me doing this podcast. I've had this idea to start this podcast at least 3 years, at least, if not more. I wanted to just sit and just talk about my feelings. I like to talk, so why don't you just talk? The fear of, oh, what if nobody listens? Nobody might not listen to this. I'm still going to do it anyway. And that's what I've learned to have to do. You just got to do it even if nobody is listening. And the joy of the situation is, guess what? Somebody's going to listen, even if it's just one person. So to whoever's listened to this, thank you. I appreciate your time. I really do. But this desire to be something smaller than what we really are, it's a killer. It is a killer. And it's the worst kind of killer. It's like a cancer where it'll just eat at you from the inside out. It's nothing that you can see, but it's eating at you on the inside. You know you have a desire. You know you have an idea. You know you have, again, that inkling to do something that you're not doing. So what advice can I give to someone so that they can be that super version of themselves, so they can let that cape flow for themselves and make that tall leap over that big building, right? First thing you have to really do is you have to sometimes you just have to I'm going to say make a plan, because a plan could be the best thing for you. But for some people, again, they'll get themselves in a box if they wait. So if you just got to jump out that window, you have to just remember that regardless of how that landing is, you got to keep going. On the days you don't want to, on the days where it hurts, on the days where you're crying, on the days where everyone around you's crying, on the days where you're not getting your callbacks, nobody's emailing you, the client has said no, the client has said yes and then said no after that, the client was okay, and then when you told them how much, they said nope, or they ghosted you. You got to keep going, because if you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice. Again, we were not made to be ordinary. We were made to be extraordinary. We are extraordinary. Do you understand how amazing you are as a human being? Just you being yourself is an amazing thing. You are a walking masterpiece, a piece of art from head to toe. You have to look at yourself as such. I know it's hard. Some days I feel like crap. I think I look like crap. I feel like everything I draw is crap. But that's not the reality of the situation is A, it's not as bad as you think it is. And B, it can get better. If you feel like you're at the bottom, okay, well look up. That's where you're going. All right, that's fine. I feel like I'm at rock bottom. Okay, cool. Well, up we go. Onwards and upwards. Onwards and upwards. You know? That's all you can do. So make yourself a plan. Keep going once you make the leap. Because you have to make the leap. You have to make the leap. I know it's scary. The economy's crazy right now. The government's crazy right now. There's so many things that are telling you be safe, and I'm gonna tell you be safe too. At the same time, you can still be safe, and two things can be right at the same time. You can be safe and still working on what it is that you want to be, that person that you want to become, that dream that you have tucked away in a drawer somewhere that you haven't told anyone, even your spouse, your children, your mother, your father. You told nobody about it. It's stuck in the recesses of your mind because you think you can't do it. Now's the time to pull it out. Now's the time. A good friend of mine who is also an artist. I'm gonna get her on the show. Her name's Yuko, and she had a brain aneurysm just one day, and she young. And that told me more than anything, we gotta just do it today. Today gotta be the day. Today gotta be the day. That's okay. Your equipment might not be the best thing. You don't have the best brush. You don't got the best phone. You don't got the best camera or the best microphone or whatever. That's okay. Start today. Start today. Today is a great day for it to be day one. It's a great day. It's a great day for it to be day one. It's a great day for you to just put that first foot forward. That first foot forward, walking toward being a super version of yourself. Loosen up that tie today. Take off the blazer today. Today's a great day. Write it down, make it plain. Start taking the steps toward what it is that you want to do, who you want to be. There is literally no time like the present. We take for granted the fact that we feel like, oh, I'm going to make it even through the weekend. You know how many people wake up, oh, today's going to be a great day, and they never get to go back to sleep again. They never get to see that loved one again or talk to that loved one again. Ever again. Take advantage of the now. Stop putting yourself in the box. Stop making yourself and shrinking yourself down to be something that society tells you you have to be. Because the answer is you do not have to be that. Us as humans, especially here in the United States, and realistically around the world, we pay attention to those that stand out. Those are the people that are idolized, we literally idolize these people who just do something that any of us can probably do. There's so many people that can sing and dance and act and draw and paint and all the different things, be a lawyer or whoever it is that you want to be. There's somebody that you probably know in your circle that wants to be that thing, but they're too scared. They're too scared. So now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the time to be that super self. To stop trying to be Clark Kent. Stop trying to just fall back and not be noticed for whatever reason. It's not a good enough reason. Oh, well, I like being low key. That's fine. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I'm an introvert. Okay, that's fine. If that's who you really if that's who you really are, versus if that's what society has told you you have to be. Doesn't matter what your last name is, what your zip code is, what your bank account looks like, what color your skin is. and what your age is. I tell my father all the time, Dad, you should start a YouTube channel. Just let your opinions out. I would listen to it. So why not? Why not you? That's the real question you have to ask yourself. Why not you? Why not you? Take a chance on yourself. Take a chance on what could be. Why not? The worst that can happen is it fails. The worst. Nobody's saying spend all your savings tomorrow. Be smart about it, right? Be smart. I knew that when I moved to New York, if it failed for me, because I wanted to move to LA. And my homeboy Lauren told me, he's like, for the type of art that you want to do, Antonio, you should go to New York. You do like, traditional and 2D stuff. I wasn't even doing digital art like that, like heavy. I just bought a Cintiq right before I moved because I thought that's what you have to have. That's what the big boys have. Like when you look up Cartoon Network and stuff, they had the same type of Cintiq that I got. But if you don't have a plan, then who cares? Who cares what the tool is if you're not using it correctly? And again, that's something I have to constantly tell myself. It doesn't matter how good my camera is or my lighting is. If I'm not actually using it, if I'm not going to do anything with it, then it's an object that's just sitting there. Me, I'm the greatest tool. You are the greatest instrument that you have to offer this world. And 9 times out of 10, you don't need a lot to be able to actually let the world see that. And if you're looking at me on a phone, then you're more than already halfway there. Because guess what? Phones can do everything, and I'm shooting this on my phone. So get out of your own way. Again, walk to that ledge, take that leap. I know it's scary. I know it's hard. I know it's scary. It is scary for me every single day. But I still got to get up and I got to do it. And the joy of the situation is 9 times out of 10, when you're actually really in it and you're doing it, you're going to feel amazing. You're going to feel like $1,000,000. For every time I doubt myself, I feel like I am the best thing since sliced bread when I'm actually drawing and interacting with people and stuff like that. When I'm actually creating, I feel amazing. All the worry and everything like that I had before, it all just melts away. But it's that building up that is hard, But once all of a sudden, once things get going, I guarantee you'll feel better. I guarantee you it's going to work out. And even if it doesn't, at least you can say you gave it a try. At least you made an attempt. You made an attempt. Really, realistically, there's no such thing as trying. Either you do it, do not. Like Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. And that's about as true can be. Did you do it? No. Did you do it? Yeah. It's one or the other. You didn't try. Because if you made it, if you tried it and failed, or tried it and succeed, you still did it. You made an attempt. Make that attempt today. Set yourself up for success. Reach out to those that are around you. 9 times out of 10, you know someone in your circle, or they know someone in their circle that can get you exactly where you need to go. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type thing. You know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that can get exactly what it is that you need. You just have to put that pride down, and you gotta open up your mouth. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Closed mouths do not get fed. Open up your mouth. Put the pride down. Swallow that pride. Vegeta is one of my favorite fictional characters. If you watch Dragon Ball, if you know about anime, and he is so full of pride. It's crazy that a lot of my favorite fictional characters are super prideful, and it's because inherently I was raised to be a prideful man. I had my mom, my father and my stepfather were both prideful men, very prideful men. So I was raised to be a prideful man. So it's hard to swallow that pride down. especially for us men, it's hard to swallow that pride down because society tells you you have to be this, that, or the third to be a real man or an alpha male or whatever heck type of things that they try to say that you have to be a man, to be considered a man or masculine or whatever. All these things, and it's complete and utter crap. You get to be exactly who and what you are, any type of way that comes across. Trust me. If somebody out there that likes it, is going to adhere to it, is going to enjoy it, is going to receive it. Why not today? With that being the case, I've talked long enough. I thank you for listening to the first episode of this podcast, my sketchy thoughts. I can't believe like that I actually ended up doing it, but I'm super excited, and I'm super excited for what's to come. With that being the case, it is your super sketch artist, Antonio. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Go be super. Okay. 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 Okay.